Hey everyone, I've got my sewing machine out today and I wanted to do a bit of upcycling, specifically on clothes on my Depop that like aren't selling. So I've got a few items that have either just like been in my shop for so long and no one wants them, either because they're just not like trendy enough or they're quite frankly a little bit ugly. So that is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be transforming a few pieces and hopefully giving them a little bit more life, making them a little more trendy, and hopefully they'll end up selling because some of these things have been in my shop for like literally a year. So the first thing that I wanted to upcycle is this skirt. Yeah, I mean, I understand why no one has bought it because it's pretty long. It's not really in style right now, but it is a really nice skirt. It's like vintage and everything. It has this really nice, like, what would you call this? Like tartan, almost houndstooth, not really, but it's like a really cute vintagey tartan skirt. And for this one, I wanted to keep it really simple, and I think if I just gave it a simple crop and hem just to make it more of like a mini skirt, maybe not that short, but just a little bit shorter, I think it'll end up looking really, really cute. So the first thing I'm gonna do is try it on and see where I want to crop it. Okay, so we're just gonna ignore the fact that this skirt is way too small for me, but this is what it looks like on. It's very like grandma-esque right now, but like watch this. So I literally just like folded the skirt upward and already it's like so much better. Like look at that. Yeah, so basically I'm just gonna pin it here and then we'll go from there. All right, so she's all pinned up. I always forget to try things on inside out when I'm pinning them, so that's kind of annoying. So I think what I'm gonna do is cut everything off and leave like a 1/2 inch for seam allowance, and then I can start sewing. So I'm just cutting off the excess fabric here. I could have done this after I hemmed it, but I was pretty confident with the length since I tried it on first, so I figured I should cut it off now just to make it a little bit easier when I sew. Okay, so I just fixed the hem so that it's inside out, and then I moved the pins, so now we're ready to sew. So I'm just gonna sew a straight line all around the whole skirt, and then it's basically gonna be done. I'm just using a straight stitch here and going along the whole trim. A straight stitch is good enough since this is just a hem and the stitching isn't really gonna be tugged on. And of course I'm making sure to do a reverse stitch at the beginning and the end to secure the stitch in place. So this is what it looks like now that it's done, and seriously looks so cute, like literally Brandy Melville-esque piece. Way better now that it's a little bit shorter. Yeah, I can't believe how easy that was. Like I've been planning to do this for a while, but like I put it off and that was literally so easy. And I was worried like maybe the hem would be too visible, but it actually matches perfectly with like this seam right here. Honestly, it turned out so freaking good because that was so easy. I'm looking at the scrap fabric and I'm like, how cute would it be if I made like a matching like headband or like scrunchie to go with it, because that would also be like super easy to make, but I don't know which one I should do. That could be like a cute moment. I'm just worried that if I did a scrunchie, this fabric might be too thick. Could even be like a little tie, like hair tie. I guess that's kind of a scrunchie though. Yeah, I think I'll make the scrunchie. I think people would be more likely to wear that, so let's give that a try. So there's already a million scrunchie tutorials on the internet, so I'm going to explain this really quickly, but I'm basically just taking that piece, folding it in half and sewing together the sides so that it creates a tube. Next, I'm just flipping it inside out so that the nice side of the fabric is now showing and the seam is hidden inside. Now we're going to pin a safety pin to a piece of elastic to help us feed it through the tube, and once the elastic is inside we can pin the other end to the scrunchie just to hold it in place for now. Then we're going to inch it along until it comes out the other end, and now we can tie the elastic ends together, and we're almost done. We just have to sew together the ends of the tube. I tried to do this on my machine, but like I realized it was a little bit easier if I just quickly did it by hand, and you've got yourself a scrunchie. So I just finished the scrunchie. It's actually in my hair because I just wanted to like test it out, and I think it looks so cute. I almost want to keep it for myself. I'm kind of like, maybe I should make another one, but yeah, I thought that would be just like a cute little addition to whoever buys the skirt. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. For this next upcycle, I actually have a ton of t-shirts here. They've just been on my Depop forever and nobody wants them, so I thought it would be cool if I did that thing where I like cut them in half and then put 2 shirts together, and I've done this before, so it should be like relatively easy. So I have 4 4 different shirts here, so in the end we'll come out with 4 different ones. I can actually like mix and match them, so I don't have to make like 2 of the same kind, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna see which combinations I think are gonna work the best. These are the combos that I'm thinking for the first couple shirts. I think these are really like cool together, and I can either like do the exact same thing just with the other sides of the shirts, or I can take one and switch it with a different shirt. So let's see what that looks like. So I could do these combinations as well, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't like them as much, first of all, but also these 2 shirts are way bigger than these 2, so they kind of just match up better how they were before. So I think I'm just gonna make duplicates of the first version. So the first thing that we obviously want to do is cut all the shirts in half, so that's what we're gonna do. So here I'm just measuring the center point of the shirt to help me cut a straight line, and then I'm just taking my scissors and cutting through both layers of the fabric and doing the same for the other shirt. Okay, so I've like pinned the shirt together. Now I'm just gonna basically sew it together. So now I'm starting off with a straight stitch and sewing the 2 shirts together, making sure they're inside out. Then I'm changing over to a zigzag stitch just to make the seam more secure and to prevent the ends from possibly fraying over time. One side of the zigzag goes into the shirt and the other side goes off so that it kind of gathers the ends of the fabric together, as you can kind of see. So this is how this one turned out. I think it looks so sick. I think these colors like really complement each other, especially because there is kind of, this is more like a greeny blue in here. I feel like it makes it work more. So now let's do the other one. Here is the second one. I think this one looks really cool as well. I feel like the black and the yellow really go together. There's a little bit of black here that like obviously matches, and I think it's kind of funny that there's like pizza on this shirt and he's kind of got his tongue out like he's eating the pizza. So yeah, I think all these shirts turned out so good. I'm gonna throw them up on my Depop now. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna upcycle, and I think it's gonna be the last thing, is this skirt my aunt gave me to sell, and it's been up on my Depop for probably a year now, and I completely understand why no one has bought it. I don't want to be mean, but it's pretty ugly. Like I put it on my Depop because I'm like, you know, like it's not my style, but it's probably someone else's. I mean, like it was probably cool at one point, but like the pattern is very loud. The colors, like this turquoise and pink, is also very loud. And I thought long and hard about like what I should make this into. I could make it into a shorter skirt. I could make it into like a tube top. I don't know, but I think this pattern is just like way too much to turn into clothing. One thing I thought I could upcycle it into is to make like reusable cotton pads, which I've actually like made before and I use them all the time and they're awesome. So I think that's what I'm going to turn this into. It unfortunately is not made out of cotton, it's made out of polyester, I think, but I feel like it could still work. So basically what I'm going to do is cut out a bunch of squares and sew them together, and that will basically be the cotton pads. I'm starting by just roughly cutting the fabric into a bunch of squares. The last time I did this, I actually traced out every single square so that they would all like match, but this honestly took way too long, and I found that in the end they still ended up not looking perfect, so it wasn't really worth it. So just like freehand cutting them I think is good enough. So once I had enough squares, I put 2 pieces together and sewed along all the edges. Then I used my scissors to cut off the ends just to make the edges look a little bit more nice and clean, and I continued that process for the rest of them. I think about 15 in a batch is probably good enough, considering you'll hopefully be doing laundry at least once every 2 weeks. And here's how they look. So this is how a few of them ended up turning out, and yeah, I figured that this was the only way that that skirt could be saved, but I think they turned out really well and they're gonna be put to much better use now for sure. And honestly, I don't even mind the pattern now that it's like a square. It actually makes it kind of fun, right? So that was all the ugly clothes that I could get to today, and I think they all turned out sick. Like I think they're way better than their original form. So if you're interested in any of the items, they're of course going to be up on my Depop, which I'll have linked below. Maybe I'll do a part 2 to this video because I still have like more projects I wanted to do, but I just didn't get to today. So let me know if you enjoyed watching this video. So thank you so much. I'll see you. Bye.